Hi, my name is Bonnie. I don't know how many of you have seen my GoFundMe campaign, but I have a Facebook page called The Herbal Cauldron that I use to make natural beauty supplies and remedies. I started on my path October 5th of 2013 and desired everything about my life to become the path. And basically this is just a story about how I got into witchcraft. I have a friend named Miranda Sodders. I don't know if she wants me to tell her name on here. But her father is Larry Zaracon Sodders, and he goes in the pagan community by Zaracon. Has a pagan podcast that you can find on Google. Just Google Zaracon, and you'll find his pagan podcast. Or you can look up Larry Zaracon Sodders under YouTube and look at his videos too. But anyway, I have, my brother's ex-wife. One night I was working with Miranda at a nursing home, and running from the path since I was around 5, because I was raised devoutly Christian and was scared of going to hell, I ended up talking to her about my brother's ex-wife. But I didn't know it was my brother's ex-wife because she just kept talking about this girl that she knew from Wyoming called Megan. And then she mentioned one of her son's names that was unusual, that happened to be the name of my nephew's younger brother. So I asked her, did she happen to have another son that was my nephew's name? And she said yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so wicked. And Miranda was kind of like, what's going on? You know, because I got this weird look on my face. She thought I was mad at her, but I was just overwhelmed. And I told her, well, Megan is my brother's ex-wife, and that second name that I mentioned is my nephew. And it turns out that Megan is Miranda's second family, and Megan's family is Miranda's second family. So that is how I got into witchcraft, because I knew that Miranda was a witch, and I had been running from the path my whole life. Eventually I ended up getting really depressed because I worked with a girl that I didn't want to work with. Not Miranda, somebody else. And I wrote this poem that ended with "bleed for me." And I reread that poem, and it scared me to death, because I never write dark stuff like that ever. It was really scary. And finally, it was just like verbal overflow. I just started talking to Miranda about witchcraft. It just kind of flew out of my mouth, like I didn't have any control over it. And after that, my life started getting better. It was like witchcraft was my lifeline. It pulled me right out of my depression, and it taught me how to gather the negative energy and cast it away and bring in positive energy from that girl that I worked with. That was one of the first things that I learned. And that ended up being really helpful. Within a week, I was like 100% better. Much happier, not quite as depressed. And ever since I have turned down the path, my life has continued to get better. I enjoy my job. I enjoy my path. I am good spiritually. Everything's fine. Just a minute. My life is just much better since that. It's been wonderful the way that everything turned around. No.
Huh?
But it's been great the way that everything's turned around, and my life has gotten better since that point. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't asked Miranda that night about witchcraft. I don't know where I would be. Possibly dead, I don't know. Because along with the depression, I had other things that come along with it, and that wasn't great. I really needed something to help me. And the path did that for me. I often think about all the times that stuff has happened through my life that made me realize that the God and Goddess were watching over me. Like that day. Well, not even that day. It was like I was at the library with my husband, and he said that he just felt drawn to look a certain way. And he looked over there, and there was a witchcraft series called Sweep. I don't even remember who the author was, but I read it because my husband told me I should read it. But it was because he was drawn to look that certain way and knew that I was interested in witchcraft that he suggested it to me. And I think in my head there's like a vision of Aphrodite, my goddess, and Zeus, my god, sitting talking about how to make me finally accept that being a witch was okay. Well, Aphrodite decided that she was going to poke my husband in the back of the head, which made him turn to look at that book series and suggest me to read it. And then Zeus and Aphrodite were still talking about what they could do, and they knew that Miranda was thinking about coming to the state that I live in, because she had somebody here that she was involved with. So Aphrodite then, with a smirk, replied to Zeus, "Do you feel like being creative?" And she brought me and Miranda together to meet, knowing full well my connection to her through my brother's ex-wife and my brother's son. And as it turns out, well, my brother's ex-wife hid the fact that she was a witch from him the entire time they were together, I guess. And I guess one day they were talking, and he told her that we had witchcraft heritage back in the old days. And I always felt like it was in my blood. There was something there. That there had to be heritage that was drawing me towards the craft. And that just confirmed it for me. But I don't know. I remember doing my first spell when I was 5 for a missing Barbie shoe, and rubbing my hands together and asking for my Barbie shoe and opening my hands, and there was both of my Barbie shoes sitting in my hands. At first I had one, and then I had 2. And when I was little, I was the ghost a few times. I was a ladybug because that was a costume that my mom made for me, but for Halloween, what did I always want to be? A witch, always a witch. I remember in my teenage years sitting on my bed saying to myself, am I a witch? It had literally been all my life. And I did research into the path over the years. I've done a lot. So when I actually did turn down the path, I knew a lot of what I was already getting into when I decided to turn down the path. And then I went down my year and a day and learned even more. And since then, it's just been a continuing learning process that goes on for the rest of your life. And to anybody that needs a mentor, I would be glad to help anybody. I was helped, and if somebody needs my help, they're welcome to ask me. I'm okay with helping. And if I don't know something, I will do my best to find out, or I will refer you to somebody else that knows better than I do. But anyway, that is all that I have for now, and I thank you for watching my video.